Tampa Bay Race Rentals. You have been invited to the ultimate drag racing experience, and we are here at beautiful Showtime's drag strip in Clearwater, Florida, and we're going to give you an introduction course into what Tampa Bay Race Rentals is going to offer and what you can expect while learning at the racetrack and going down the racetrack all at the same time. So first, we're going to go through a quick run through of our basic procedure list. When you arrive at Tampa Bay Race Rentals, you're going to be invited into our area. You'll see our race trailers, and we're going to take everybody over, get you to sign the waivers, and get signed up for the course. Also, we're going to have you pick out your helmet. Picking out your helmet is going to be pretty important. You need a helmet that fits nice on your head, that you feel comfortable with. All of our helmets have been sanitized before and after every session, so you don't have to worry about that. Next, we're going to make sure you have shoes on. The drag strip surfaces are really sticky. Most of the time when you're on the track, yes, you'll be in the cars, but from time to time you'll be walking up there, and you need to have good shoes on that are pretty tight on your feet. After that, we're going to get you into the cars. So what we have here are 2020 Mustang GTs. Now these cars are today's modern muscle cars and have about 450 horsepower, and just enough power to have a really exciting time and at the same time very safe. So these cars, the first thing you're going to do is, as we get you into a car, you're going to have the option to either do a ride along with me where I drive and show you basically the same thing you're seeing in this video, or you're going to have the option for me to sit in the passenger seat if you feel like you have enough experience to take it behind the wheel the first time. Either way, we're going to get you in the car. First thing you're going to do is get in the car, and you're going to adjust the seat just like you would if you were driving it to and from the grocery store. So you need to get in the car, get the seat adjusted to where you feel comfortable. Mirrors aren't that important because you're really not looking anywhere except for down the track, but if you feel like adjusting the mirrors, please do so. The very next thing that we're going to do is you're going to get your seat belt on, and then we're going to go through a couple of the functions of the car. So now that you're in the car and everything is adjusted, you're going to get in, and we're going to start the car. It has a normal start-stop button on the dash over off by the shifter. So you'll start the car. Now the car is running. And the most important thing we got to do at this point is there's really two things. So you have a traction control button. Here in a minute, we're going to take you into the car and show you all these detailed buttons and everything that you should be doing. But for now, we're just going to go through it. The traction control button is important because here we're trying to utilize all the horsepower these cars have. And since we're on a track that's been prepped, it's important that we don't have the traction control off. It makes the difference of about half a second on these cars. So we'll hit the traction control button one time, and then on the screen it'll pop up traction control off. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to pay close attention. These cars have paddle shifters, so you do not want to touch the paddle shifters. We're going to race these cars down the track in sport mode. When you have it in sport mode, if you touch a paddle shifter, it's going to insist that that's how you're driving the whole way. So if you happen to touch a paddle shifter and you don't realize it, what will happen is you launch the car, and as you're driving, it will not shift unless you hit the paddle shifter. So the important thing to realize is, oh, I've hit the paddle shifter, and what do? Stop, relax, put the car back into park, and then reset and put the car back down into sport mode. Now it's going to go back and shift the car automatically like you intended to do. So now that we're in the car, it's running, we have traction control off, we haven't hit any of the paddle shifters, we're going to drop it down to the sport mode, and we're going to proceed to the burnout. So in the burnout, what we do is we roll the car through some water, and we get some water on the tires. We're not looking to do big burnouts. These cars have drag radial Mickey Thompson tires on them, and they're really high quality tires. The important thing is what we're doing is we're getting whatever dirt that we picked up as we drove back here to the starting line off the tires. So what we have is a water box here, and then I'm going to run down the track here and I'm going to show you what we got. We have the first set of cones you see there that have the helmets on them. That is basically how far you're going to roll the vehicle up. Now there'll be someone up there that's instructing you of how far to roll, because what can happen is if you stay too far back in the water and do a burnout and you don't actually burn out through the water, you'll take water with you up to the starting line. So we're going to roll you all the way up to a safe place to stop and perform your burnout. So doing a burnout, some of you may have done burnouts and some of you may have not. How we're going to do a burnout on these cars is the classic foot brake burnout. So what you'll do is apply you're going to drive two-footed. So most of the time you're told not to drive two-footed. In this situation, we're driving two-footed. One foot is going to press firmly down on the brake, while the other foot, your right foot, is going to go to the gas pedal. 80% brake, and then we're going to do about 60% gas. And what will happen is the tires are going to start spinning, and then you're going to reduce the amount of brake, and then you're going to increase the amount of gas. And you'll see a guy telling you more, he'll be going do more, more burnout or less. So then as you now have let totally off the brake and you are giving it gas and continuing the burnout out of the water, you're going to proceed to the next cone. We do not want you to go past that cone. At that point, you need to be coming up to that second cone, making a nice stop. You're going to come up to that cone, and you may have your windows down at this point. We're going to ask you that you put your windows all the way up. So here we go. We're in the water box. We're stopped. We're doing a burnout. We're going to burn out all the way up about here. By the time we get to this cone, we're going to stop. We're going to put our windows up. And then we're going to proceed to the starting line area. This set of cones here. This set of cones is where you will begin to get ready to race down the racetrack. Once you get to the last cone, you will have your windows up, you will be in sport mode, and you will be preparing to actually activate the tree. Now at this point, you have about 1 foot to where you have to gently roll the car up until the top bulb will light. You will then wait for your competitor to light their top bulb. At the time the next person lights the bottom bulb, we wait for the other person to light their bottom bulb, then the tree will be activated and you'll see the tree start to drop. We'll take you through that next. Alright, we now have Jim in the car, and Jim's going to take us through a live illustration of what we just went through. So we were preparing to do the burnout. Jim now has the car, he's in sport mode, he has traction control off, and he is ready to go. Come on in. So now we're going to have Jim come into the water. He's going to roll through the water and get just the right amount of water on the tires, and we're going to tell him how far to go. Come on up, Jim. All right, stop. See, he's pretty close to the first set of cones. Do the burnout. Perfect. Now Jim's going to go up to the next set of cones here. At this next set of cones is where he's going to stop, and he's going to make sure he's got his windows up. After that, he's going to go ahead and proceed to the staging area and get his car up to the line and get ready to make the run. Let's see him do it. All right, now Jim has completed his burnout and he has made his way to the second set of cones. At this point, Jim has now put his windows up and he's going to proceed to the staging area of the racetrack. There's always a starter at the track that has to throw the switch to activate the tree. That is the job of the starter, to make sure that he is ready and all the drivers are ready. Now this is a bye run, so it's just going to be Jim going down the track. Jim has now proceeded to the third cone and is now going to light the pre-stage bulb. The pre-stage bulb has been lit, as you can see. And when Jim is totally ready, he's going to go in and light the final stage bulb. All right, let's see how he does. Now the tree is active, and the tree is going to be to drop the 3 yellow bulbs below it. Then it's going to go green and Jim will be off and down the track. Jim did a great job there. He went in, he pre-staged the top bulb. He then fully staged the car. The tree was then active. Then the 3 yellow lights then begin to fall. The car needs to be leaving to cut a good light at about the time that the second bulb is going out and the third bulb is coming on. A perfect reaction time is a 000. And we'll have to see what Jim got on his reaction time when he returns back from this run. Now it's time for you to get in the car with us and check out a one-on-one of what we're going to do from an in-the-car kind of perspective. Okay, now we are in the car and we're going to take you through the basic procedures of getting ready to go down the track. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and buckle up. And now I'm going to go ahead and adjust the seat. You have basic automatic seat adjustment controls like you might be used to in your own personal vehicle. Whoever was in here before was taller than me, surprisingly. So I've moved the seat forward, just slowly adjusting it so I'm comfortable. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start the car. So to start the car, you have to have your foot on the brake. You're going to hit the starting button over here in the center area of the console near the shifter. Now the car is running. At this point, the most important thing to do in order to ensure the most performance is to turn the traction control off. The traction control button is located in the center console, 2 buttons over from the engine start. It has a car doing a burnout and it has the letters off written on it. We're going to hit it 1 time. Once we have hit the button, it pops up on our screen that the traction control is now off. Okay, now that I have my seatbelt on and the seat adjusted to my comfort, I'm going to go ahead and start the vehicle. So remember, we're driving this car 2-footed. So I'm going to put my left foot on the brake and press down, and I'm going to turn the engine on with the engine start-stop button. Now we have the car running. To ensure the most performance out of the car, we're going to ask everyone to turn the traction control button off. The traction control button is located next to the hazard button in the center console. It has a car that appears to be doing a burnout with the letters off next to it. We're going to turn it off by pressing it 1 time. Once we've turned it off, on our screen in the middle of our dash pops up the words traction control off. And that's what we're looking for. The next what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and keep our foot firmly on the brake, and we're going to drop the car into sport mode. Sport mode is the selection of the shifter all the way the farthest back. Now that we're in sport mode, we're going to proceed to the burnout. All right, now we're in the car and we have our seatbelt on and our seat adjusted. And we're going to take you through the startup procedure on the car. Push your left foot on the brake and firmly press down and hit the start-stop button on the center console. Now we have the car running. The most important thing to ensure the most performance out of this vehicle is to turn the traction control button off. The traction control button is located in the center console next to the hazard button. We're going to press this button 1 time. It has a car that appears to be doing a burnout with the word off right next to it. Once we've pressed the button, the word traction control off comes up on the center console screen. Okay, now we have Jim, who is instructing us where to do our burnout, up on the racetrack. We're going to put the car, while holding down on the brake, into sport mode, which is the gear selector, all the way to the farthest back position. Now we're going to proceed into the water box. Jim is watching how much water is going on the tires and how far that we should move out of the water to make sure we don't take an extra water up to the starting line. Okay, now we've made it to the first set of cones, which is approximately where we've said was the place that the starter will tell you where to go. At this point, we're going to start our burnout. So we're holding down firmly with our left foot on the brake pedal. Meanwhile, our right foot is going to start to apply pressure to the gas pedal, and you'll start to feel the tires spin. Here we go. Now we're going to let out on the brake pedal and fully spin up to the second set of cones. Now we've done the burnout. We're going to go ahead and put our windows up. Now that we've completed the burnout, we've made it to the second set of cones, and we're going to proceed to the staging area of the racetrack. This is going to be the 3rd cone located just outside the beams. Windows are going up, and let's get up there. The 3rd cone is about a foot to 18 inches away from the first pre-stage bulb. We're going to go ahead and light our pre-stage bulb. Now we have the car pre-staged. If we were racing another competitor, it is customary to go ahead and allow the other competitor to light his pre-stage bulb. Then we will proceed to both stage the vehicle. Once both vehicles are staged, the yellow lights will begin to drop, and we will leave once the second light has gone out and the 3rd light has come on. Now we have staged the car, and since we're not racing anybody, we're going to go ahead and go down the racetrack anyway and show what it's like on the other end. Ready? Now we're accelerating down the racetrack. The car will be going 0 to 100 in 7 to 8 seconds. The end of the track is right here where the scoreboards are. Once we cross the end of the track at the finish line, we will begin to apply pressure to the brake pedal and take our foot off the gas pedal. The shutdown is kind of bumpy, and you'll want to go ahead and make sure you pass the first turnaround road, which is coned off, and proceed all the way down to the final turnaround cone that has a wall of cones showing you that this is no longer should you be going any further down the track. At this point, you should be slowed all the way down and gently make your turn onto the return road. Once we go down the return road, you can go ahead and put your windows back down. We're going to proceed to the ticket booth and get our ticket and see how quick we went. Now you experience the thrill of Tampa Bay race rentals here at Showtime Drag Strip, the ultimate drag racing experience. We've taken you through an introduction course to the do's and don'ts of going down the track. I think the one thing to leave here is make sure that you have a good time and that everybody tells their friends about how much fun they had at Tampa Bay Race Rentals. Thanks for coming out. We'll see you next time.